are you doing, my lady?
Oh, oh dear. I'm doing good. I feel weird. Well, I don't know why, but I feel weird. But I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing weird too, but I'm also doing good. Maybe it's the full moon today.
Great scripted scripted conversation there. It wasn't, by the way, which makes it worse. It sounded really scripted though.
Oh,
From
today it's the full moon.
today in
Like a
Scorpio. Like,
weather
oh,
report.
feeling shitty today. Look outside. It's
Oh,
probably the
fuck.
moon. That's why I've been feeling weird today.
I'm burning.
For real though. This full moon, what should we be watching out for?
Emotional intensity and
Mm-hmm.
like how we not to extend that to other people because like in Scorpio it can be very aggressive, but also it's a very good full moon because it's also about we are really releasing stuff that are, I feel like I'm saying the same things at every full moon, but um, yeah, it depends on the house. It affects based on our ascendant, but yeah, we are letting something go so we can be reborn. So something that is not
I love that.
something that is not useful to us anymore, or like something that we have been
Mm-hmm.
like trying to keep the peace, and it's not the time to keep the peace. It's time to express what is really happening. So it's spicy. For us, it's extra spicy because we both have some Scorpio placements. I'm not going to fully dox what placements, but it's affecting us.
We should do more astrology related content. We should.
We will be sprinkling some juju things
True, true.
here and there.
I was literally walking home from work and I was like, wow, it's like really light. And I looked up and this massive thing like staring at me. It's like, oh, that's why.
Today, we are talking about how the internet shaped us.
Okay, well, it's like interesting, right? Like the internet era has just been a part of our sort of like journey the whole way through, I think. The biggest one probably came from being social online. So I actually wasn't much of a Tumblr girl growing up. I actually went straight into sort of like role-playing games online, which now to think of it probably was a really bad idea. But me and my best friends were on these sort of like social chat apps. One of the main ones that my friends used to always be on was Neopets. I
Mm.
didn't quite get into Neopets. I didn't really like the aesthetic, I think. And so I didn't really see the excitement behind it. But then my friends started getting into this more minor one called Gaia Online. And that
Mm.
had more of like a Japanese, I don't know if you know it. Like it
Yeah,
was still
yeah.
around until a few years ago. I think it still is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried it.
So it's like more of an anime character. Oh, you have? Oh, you have? Yeah. So it's like an anime vibe, but it's role playing, but you can like customize all your characters. So you can essentially dress it up. You can like change things. You can customize things. Because I didn't really play that many games growing up, it was essentially my first sort of like dressing up, customizing, expressing myself. I guess you could call it a metaverse in like a metaverse space for the first time. I wouldn't
Mm.
have been even like 15 at the time, I think. We would have been like 14, 15 maybe. And majority of the time we spent, like my best friend and I spent talking to creepy men on the internet. So that was that was that. And then from there, I think quickly it went more into like the artsy side. So a lot of my friends and I were on a platform called DeviantArt, which I believe is still around still. And it was essentially like a mixture of Reddit and Tumblr but with like a portfolio aspect. It was a lot more social before. It's more one-ended now. It's evolved more into like a, you know, like an Instagram or like a YouTube almost, where you just post. But it used to be more about, you know, forums and talking to people, meeting new artists. It was a lot more degen back then. And I was obsessed. It was so much fun, like discovering new artists, discovering new art forms that I liked, and also expressing myself as well. So my main art journey, especially online, like back in the day, that was sort of my main experience, I think. But I'd love to hear yours.
Before I say mine, I'd like to also include maybe games.
So my parents were weird. Like they didn't let me have games.
Mm.
So like I missed that whole culture, which I'm still mad about till this day, to be honest. But they were like a weird sort of we were like a weird household in the sense of computer games were not considered games. So
Mm.
if knew of a computer game that I thought had some sort of like educational purpose to it, I would like pitch to my mom or my dad and be like, you should get me this because X, Y, and Z, and would get them. So like, I think I had like that Barbie game with like the dress up, and also I liked this one called Zumbinis. I think there's like still a version around of it, but yeah, it was like big, I think, in America. I hope someone else used to play it because every time I say it, people are like, what? But
Yeah.
essentially, it's like these purple little beings that have been captured, and you need to go and free them. But it's weird because you can like customize them. So you could like choose what sort of feet they have, what sort of nose and like facial features it has, what sort of hat it's wearing, and then you make like tons of them, like 50 of them. And then you have to go through all these sort of like survival games. It's almost like Squid Games, but slightly milder, but they do die. And you need to get as many of the 50 back to safety, essentially. And that had me as obsessed as like a little kid, and no one's played it before. So if you have, please tell me. But yeah, so like games like that. And then again, like I guess it's our generation growing up, everyone who was allowed to have games used to play Sims and also like Mario Kart, you know, 64, those sort of games everyone was playing. So I'd like go over to my friends' places to play the games so that I could
That's
get my
so cute.
emails hit. um, so that was kind of my experience with games. I don't really have that much, unfortunately. Oh, and I also had this really, really cool 101 Dalmatian game, which was also really cool because you could like customize. I don't know if you know that scene where there's like the apartment and then like I think it like pans up and you see everyone with their dog, and everyone kind of looks like the dog and the dog kind of looks like them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like such a small scene. And there was like a matching game, I think, where you had to guess whose dog was whose, or you could customize it or something. I can't quite remember what it was, but it was like a very fashion sort of moment where you could like have fun. But it was like part of the movie.
Like mini games embedded in movies, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dalmatians.
yeah, yeah,
I love
exactly.
this. I
Yeah.
love this. I remember like playing Ice Age and stuff like that on the movie. I also had like in like Game Boy Advance, I also had a
Oh.
game and it was PG, I don't know, 8 or something. So it was like cool. Um but yeah, I'm trying to remember what was the starting point for me because like I grew up in a family where we got a computer quite early on, and they were like,
Mm.
"Oh, this is how they will get entertained now, so be free." You know, like it was like the opposite. Um, but yeah, I think my really like main introduction, apart from like games in like Game Boy Advance and like Mario and like stuff like that, it was Sims, as most like kids. I remember like my uncle had like a pirated version of Sims 1. And that was like my first introduction, and I was so so hooked. I think when like Sims 2 came out, I bought it first thing, and then as the years went by, I was getting extensions. I remember like downloading mods for Sims, and
Mm.
there were so many viruses, especially back then, and zero protection. So yeah, I remember this with like LimeWire and stuff like that. You remember when it just, oh, I love this song, and it downloaded, everything was falling apart. But yeah, I think I will mention one other game which I don't think was popular, but it I realized that recently that it's super correlated with my direction now, especially the fashion part. It's called Imagine Fashion Designer. Do you know that?
No, what
Yeah,
kind of
it's
game
like
is it like?
um it's like you are doing everything like a creative director and makeup and stuff like that and clothes, and you have to be, it's not like those games where you just put one color somewhere and says good great job. You have to like apply perfectly the makeup and the clothes and stuff like that, or else you get like rated very badly. And there is also runway, and you have to take photos and hold the camera. So I'm like, this is so insane.
No pressure. Like there must be so much that you need to do right. Like you need to it's almost like being a 3D creator because you need to do like everything. It's not just like just creating the clothes. You need to
Yeah,
like style it, you need to paint it, you need to
yeah,
take photos, and they all need to be good as well. It's
yeah.
insane. I want to play this game. Where can I get it?
Um, I will try and find it for you. But I didn't remember the name for many years, and I was like researching the internet, and after many hours, I found it, and I saw gameplay, and in my mind, in my memories, this was so high tech. I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
this is the future. Like I can touch her. This is like, and I saw like a walkthrough, a gameplay on YouTube, and I'm like, this is so different, from what I remembered. And it's,
Oh,
yeah, no, I mean, for that era, it was very good, right? But
right, right,
like,
right. Yep.
especially like working with 3D now and stuff like that, there's so much difference. I was very active in Tumblr, but
Hmm.
also I really, really resonate with the chat room aspect, the social aspect. I think since I was like 12 to, I don't know, at least 16 or 17, I was always searching like for virtual games that are social.
Hmm.
And the first game I found was called like Our World in like Miniclip, IMVU. So I totally get the aspect of being a teenage girl on like chat rooms with people of suspicious identity probably, and like chatting. um
You put it
that.
a lot more graciously than I did. I was like, creepy men.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it essentially was what we are doing, but you know.
Yeah, it's wild how the internet back then had like, it had so much life and it was so alive, but it was
Mm.
so like Wild West, like no one was saying what, especially with kids, what they were doing, with who they were chatting. I think we are the lucky ones, like of
We are.
other experiences. But no matter the bad things, it was a very important experience as well, because I was a very introvert kid. I didn't have a lot of friends, so this was my life. Like being online
Hmm.
and being like digitally and virtually social, and also like also making
Yeah.
outfits, you know, the customization aspect we were talking about. I think it has really influenced us um going towards like digital fashion and like digital design. I also think the internet culture back then had a lot of variety,
Mm.
especially with Tumblr and all this aesthetic. There was witch aesthetic, there was emo, there was scene, and there was so many stuff that were wildly different and opposing,
Mm.
which I
Yep.
think gave us like an advantage. We were very early,
Hmm.
like seeing art things or aesthetic related things before they were viral. I have an idea if you want to share. Why are you terrified?
Idea? Like,
I'm wondering if you have mm, like your first email or one of your first emails, if it's like a funny or weird like username.
I don't. I missed that, I think. I think I always sort of like had an artistic side in mind that I would like always use this boring name. So like, yeah, no, I don't, unfortunately. But all my friends had like crazy ones, which I'm like jealous of now because it feels like I like missed out on something. But
No,
what were
you
yours?
didn't. You didn't miss anything. You were the lucky one. Um, I always had cringy ones. I don't remember all of them, fortunately, but I share a funny story. When I was 12, I had seen 8 Mile
Yeah,
and I became obsessed. And I had this vision that I would be the first and most famous female rapper.
of course. I love it. Is there any footage of said Celine singing or rapping rather as an 8-year-old?
Mm,
Please say there
mm,
is.
no, fortunately
No.
or sadly, I don't know which side, but I didn't. It would be sad, like me saying like mom spaghetti and like I had like my first like email and username was like rapper hell. Have my part of my name, but also the hell element, like I'm going to be a fire rapper.
So it was like your code name, but not, but really it was sort of like
It was kind of tied up to like
mm.
the 16-year-old me, where I did try with another username to like I did the shittiest productions like rapping about like literally nonsense.
We all have like to some extent some embarrassing version of ourselves on the internet somewhere. So let's just hope we don't get too famous. Otherwise, those things are gonna like start rolling out. And we're like, oh yeah, that's something that I did. A less intelligent version of myself did back in the day.
But it was more brave, right?
Ah, true, true. Yours is not embarrassing, no, but
No,
I'm sure
I've
there are other
done
things that we've done. Yeah.
more embarrassing things, which I've done on Facebook, which I don't even have the logging
No, was
stuff.
it
Yeah,
public?
it was. I don't remember. I think at some point I must have done like private. Must have put them on private. But I will just share one thing. I was doing like parodies, you know, that YouTube parodies kind of
Yeah,
vibe. And one of them, it was me taking my father's suit, and I was doing that la 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 la. Oh. Please tell me, like, I'd like to hear, like, it doesn't have to be in this kind of section, like, if you have any kind of like similar, like, embarrassing moment.
so I used to do music in high school. I don't know if I told you this,
No, you
but
haven't.
have I not? Oh, okay. So we used to do like before it was cool, we used to do like a cappella singing. So like before Pitch Perfect came and made it
Yes.
cool, we were like the awkward people in like the corner harmonizing, right? And so we used to do like choruses and also doing just like, you know, on the side doing stuff. Pretty sure there's like more than one video of me somewhere on the internet with like either friends or like in groups, like
I need to see
harmonizing.
this.
I'm sure I could find them. There's probably
Please.
multiple of them actually. Yeah. That's the
Perfect.
closest I think we got. We were just like, you know, the geeky group in the corner doing like weird stuff all the time. We're like slightly different generations, especially in the sense of internet, I think, that we didn't have access to like a phone or like a camera that was YouTube ready until I was probably like 20. Even then, you had to have one of those, you know, like handheld cameras
Mm,
in order for it to be able to upload to YouTube. Like we
mm.
didn't have the technology that we have now, you know, just a phone and then you take a silly video and then you upload it to like TikTok and YouTube. Even that is only like 10 years old, 20 years old.
Concept of
Yeah.
time.
Same.
I always wanted to be one of the
Horrible.
theater kids. So for me,
So
this is the
cliche.
best thing. No, no, but it's fun. It's fun and it's so creative.
It is. It is. No, it's a big part of who I am, I guess, to some extent. But yeah, otherwise, like even yeah, at fashion school and stuff, we did, you know, like fashion shows every week almost. But by that time, I knew I wanted to be behind the scenes.
Mm.
So I was always the one sort of like either doing the music for the runway or like doing part of the lighting or like, you know, doing the queuing behind the scenes or something. So I would never be like on like in on stage or like in front of
Mm.
the camera. So this is probably like one of my first times ever like properly doing something in front of the camera. So it's like so scary, but fun.
We
Yeah.
are like making justice to our
Mm,
past selves by doing this. So
definitely.
yeah. And imagine
Or
we switch it all up and we start just doing funny things from one time, like
I mean,
shows.
why not? All the things we missed out on, like start doing like memes from like the 2000s, and everyone's like, "What? What?
And they go viral again.
Wait, we don't want to be too famous. Wait,
Just a tiny bit.
micro influencers. That's what we want to become. What is a micro influencer anyway? Apparently, we're micro influencers. Is nano smaller than micro?
Where
I
Nano
failed at maths.
was.
We're not even micro. That's
Yeah,
But being nano influencers, you can make money on the internet, guys. So keep
yeah.
going.
Okay, I am switching again the gears. I was wondering how all these things we talked about kind
Mhm.
of um relate to your like artistic uh
Ooh.
journey, or like especially like the influences that have affected the your style now, or your preferences.
I love that question. I think especially right now, and I'm sure there's a lot that you can relate to this as well, but the whole Y2K era,
Mm.
obviously, without it doesn't even need to be mentioned, but as like a starting point, I think, for this conversation, is we literally lived through it, and to see it sort of come back as like, you know, the cool retro thing that at the time it was not cool whatsoever, which is kind of interesting to see, you know, come back and be like modernized, and to see it through the lens of today has been really interesting. Of that sort of, you know, it was like a beginning of an era but an end of an era, and so much was changing, obviously, with like games and culture and like music as well. Arguably music was like probably at its best back then, I want to say.
Mm.
Like the noughties in general, from 2000 all the way to like 2010, was like the best era, right, for like all genres of music, I want to say, almost, give or take, at least in the lifespan, our lifespan, I think. So there's just so much jam packed in that era. Go ahead.
No, it just a specific song popped when you said that, and I will just
Oh,
say,
no.
"If you wanna be with me, maybe."
That's a price I'll pay. I don't know the lyrics. I'm a genie in the battle. Oh God. Why can we sing it? I was like, I don't know the lyrics, and then like I sing like
I remember it, but
oh
it's too
no.
not safe for work.
Yeah, it's okay. To think we like sang our hearts along to it, not even knowing the lyrics to like so
Exactly.
many songs.
All those
So
songs.
many
I'll take you
songs.
to the candy shop. No, please don't take me to the candy shop.
We just thought it was an actual candy shop. But yeah, to my point, music was the best. You know, the MTV era was just so good, and it feels weird that that music part didn't get mirrored. Like, obviously, there are like a lot of good artists that have sort of popped over the, especially like the last year. You know, like Charlie XCX and Chaperone. I don't think is too Y2K, but she's like doing her own thing, and others as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens this year. You know, that culture and growing up in it and just seeing it be reborn now has been super interesting. But to your question of how it's influenced my art, it's that exactly, to be honest. I'm like exploring parts of that era, and I'm working with a lot of projects that are within that theme even before Y2K
Mm.
became big again. Projects like Galvez as well, they're
Mm.
based on that sort of early 90s nostalgic art reference of anime from that age. So like Sailor Moon and like Akira and a few other animes from that era have directly influenced this brand new art form that has been crowdfunded and created, and fingers crossed the anime is coming out super soon. So yes, super excited for that, and sort of seeing that come together over the last few years has been inspirational and exciting, and it's definitely inspired and formed the sort of art I've created, and it never probably would have. I don't think it's the sort of aesthetic that I would usually lean into
Mm.
traditionally, to be honest, but I've just sort of like embraced it. It's been a lot of fun, and it's obviously with like digital fashion as well. There was a lot of sort of like chrome pieces, you know, a lot
Mm.
of that sort of style and that sort of look, even again before the Y2K era sort of even properly unfolded.
Mm.
It was that sort of, you know, alien, retro futuristic 80s 90s sort of looks from like movies and stuff that were really
Mm.
drawn inspiration from, for that sort of digital fashion looks as well. Not so much right now, or maybe still, I think,
Mm.
with sort of, you know, floating elements like chrome elements around the face and around the body and stuff like that, still very strong. So that's very Y2K. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it's just finding inspiration, and also sort of like what is trending and stuff and what people want to see. And no means that is sort of, you know, molding yourself to a trend or anything, but just letting yourself sort of let yourself explore and let yourself sort of be informed by things that are happening, whether it's directly around you or sort of like in the greater world as well. Yeah, being more open and more excited about things that are happening in the world. And that has definitely changed both my artistic style and sort of my process, probably more my process, to be honest,
Mm.
of how I sort of research and create pieces, and sort of looking at like how I integrate things like AI and
Mm.
3D and AR and sort of like multidisciplinary, I guess. So that's my TED Talk rant of what my art and how
This
the
is
internet
a
has
TED Talk
informed it.
podcast. Do you feel that this whole process is helping you also like connect to your inner child, or to yourself back then in a way?
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, but also like to all aspects of like who I have been so far. Like, yes,
Mm.
definitely my childhood. And it's like unlocking a lot of, core childhood memories that I even forgot that I had, which is like nostalgic, but also like, like surreal at the same time. They're just popping up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, that happened and that happened. It's kind of interesting going back down memory lane, looking at all the sort of like concerts I've been to and like all the sort of interactions I've had around that, on all the friends that I've made through those art forms and like hobbies, I guess. And that sense, so not necessarily just in that, childhood era, but even like growing up and like once I've been an adult as well, that sort of sense, I think a lot has come back to me. And it's like, oh, it's like, everything's connected, everything happens for a reason. And it's just really interesting.
No, I love that your answer is like very holistic, is the word. Like it's really, it's like all this time warp of our lives. It's like connected instead of just going back to just a specific memory, which is it's very beautiful to see it in that kind of lens.
No, thank you. How about you? I'd love to know your story.
Yeah, which one? The whole thing?
Yeah, I was like, oh, start from the start, maybe.
Okay. So I think because I was always really into fantasy, and one of the games that I was also playing when I was a teenager and a bit later, and that was like League of Legends, which I will get cancelled for that. But my obsession with fantasy characters and concept is exactly like what I'm doing now, or maybe what I've been doing for the past like at least 2 years. I don't know where I'm going now with my style. I feel like I'm changing direction, experimenting, but I think this was the main influence. I'm sure that subconsciously I've been influenced by every of these experience we have been talking about. But I also think maybe color-wise, Tumblr was really so many mood boards. You could have one page only for mood boards and aesthetics. So I think I always had the thing with holographic. So when I saw it on Tumblr, I was obsessed. So I think like also like the palettes and the witchy aesthetic, which is also like part of my identity in a way, that is influenced from that era as well. I'm someone who is really connected to nostalgia, and I always come back to like memories and stuff like that. And I've been like brainstorming on how to do that in my own style, like more directly, not just general, because when someone sees my art, they're not going to think of nostalgia. So, like maybe getting some elements of the past and combining it with more fantasy. Like some concepts I've thought is like maybe like a cassette or a CD that is like magically enhanced or like magic related, like combine the witchy part to that kind of nostalgic, tangible part in a way, which I'm excited to explore.
I love it. I love it. I love that whole tape idea. I can see your puppy in the background, just in case people are like, what is that behind you?
It's my inner demon. He's just very small and furry.
What is he doing? I can see he's just like sitting up like this. It's like a side profile. It looks like
he's doing a performance.
Oh, sorry, keep going, puppy. Oh, shaking his head.
He's an Aquarius. I'm not going to expand more. He's weird, okay? He's always like being judgy and like looking deep into my soul. Like he also sits like a human. They should have like camera detection.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Like, when I told you. Oh no, we're sitting down.
He's sitting.
No, we're laying down. Oh,
he's like, I'm so tired of your bullshit. Leave me alone.
He's judging us. Hi, puppy. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he gave us the cold shoulder. He's not even facing us right now.
No, what I wanted to say was I love the idea of the cassette tape and having like a witchy sort of feeling and having like a section of you in it. Like I want to see that. I want to see that art right now. But I've always, yeah, that kind of gave me ideas as well. Like I want to create art from my past as well. Like, put more of myself in my art. But the only ways I can really think of doing it is like very literal. And I don't know, I'm feeling maybe we can like do
Yes.
a session on like brainstorming. Like, how do you even come up with ideas like that? Because whenever I have like an idea, I'm like, oh, I'll literally make that art. And it's so boring. Like, it's like, okay, no one's gonna want that or see that or be excited by that.
No.
And
Now your inner demon is talking. He's left my space. It's coming to yours. No.
oh no, no.
No.
No. No, but no, like because it's so literal. It's not that anyone won't enjoy it, I don't think, but it would just be like too much.
I think it's the
I think.
opposite.
Really though?
Yeah, because people just see something for 2 seconds, and yeah,
True.
there are subconscious influences and stuff like that, but they kind of
Mm,
want to understand. Like, this is like from my experience. I've never felt like people understand what the fuck I'm doing. My point was like, with this idea that I said, it's going to be
mm.
more literal because it's literally a cassette. Everyone has like memories or knows that this is old or nostalgic. But
Mm.
yeah, go ahead. But I love the brainstorming idea so much.
Yeah, we should do it. We should do it. It'll be fun.
We can
Like,
even like record it if we can find like a concept that is not going to take like 2 hours of recording. But
true.
yeah, we can
Well, like
definitely do
a
that.
part of it, maybe. Yeah, like brainstorming our inner child. I don't know. That sounds really weird, but that's essentially what it is. Maybe like a better
Our
title.
inner
But
children coming a bit.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. I like the idea. I love it. Let's do it. Yeah, I can't wait for what we do next with this podcast. I think it's going to go good. So I know we have a few friends who started listening, which I really appreciate all of you. If you have any ideas you think we should talk about, we should try. We have so we've done quite an artistic one and we've done quite a few talking ones now. And we want to keep exploring and expanding the sort of content that we create and the sort of topics that we cover. And I definitely want to do more, like, I know we mentioned it at the start, but more like astrology and like witchy stuff. It's definitely been something I've wanted to explore. Like, we've had offline conversations like for hours about it as well. So bringing what we can online as well. Thank you so much for listening. As always, can't wait for you to see more of our artistic explorations because there's more to come for sure. And yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying this new podcast era. It was
Same.
so scary to start, but now that we've like got down a semi sort of routine, we're still working on it, but definitely a lot more to figure out. But I am enjoying it thoroughly. And so thank you, Celine. And we'll keep going as long as we can. So thank you all for listening and hope to see you in the next one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.